Okay, everyone, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Thank you very much. Now, before we get started, I'd just like to acknowledge that we are not the first people to live, work, and play on these lands. So please join me in thanking the Indigenous peoples for their stewardship of the traditional lands and treaty lands that we now enjoy alongside them. And I'd also like to acknowledge our deep Quaker history within our township. Thank you. Now, are there any disclosures of interest? This is new. Councillor Bean.
I feel like, Groundhog Day. Anyways, yes, I'm declaring correspondence on 175, March 25th, 2019. I, Councillor Beach, declare a potential conflict. Subject matter, Grain Boys Holding, for the reason perceived conflict due to the actions of residents.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Pam. Now, welcome everyone. It's great to have everyone here tonight. Now, are there any announcements? Gary, how about we start with you? Any announcements?
Yes. I met with a gentleman that I've known for quite some time regarding the Red Barn that is supposed to be demolished, and the amount of the demolition was $25,000 in our budget. And I talked to this fellow and I said, would you do the demolition in return for the materials? And he says I'm quite interested. So that might be a $25,000 improvement to our budget.
Thanks for paying your salary. We appreciate it.
There's no pecuniary interest here.
No, thanks. Anything for you, Gord?
And just a couple of things. Welcome, everyone. I wish we had this group here every night. It'd be great. Just a couple of things. This coming Saturday is Earth Hour, so 8:30. Make sure you turn your lights off for an hour and get cozy. So that'll be this coming Saturday at 8:30. As well, we finalized our budget here in Uxbridge as well. The region is doing theirs this week, so hopefully we'll have that underway sooner than later. Thank you.
Go ahead, Ron.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. Couple things. So this past Friday, I went out and took part in Bring On Spring with the retailers down on Brock Street. My wife had a great time. The credit card got a little warm, and even though it was cold outside, it was a little bit of fun. So it was nice to support local. Alongside that, we've got our Uxbridge Bruins that have to warm up a little bit. We're down a little bit in the series now, 3-0. If they can win this next one out and bring it back home on Friday, what I'm telling you is we still have a chance. So hopefully that they can stay on that way. Rolling right through the Butter Tart Festival. Who doesn't love a good Butter Tart? Sunday, that was amazing. Most of the places sold through very early in the day. I got by there later and there wasn't a lot left. So great to see, as usual. Uxbridge does a great job with events. And just one last thing that kind of happened today that we thought it was important to bring up. And we had a meeting today, Councillor Hyatt, Mayor Barton, myself, Ingrid, and staff with the region. And we started talking to them about a lot of things in town, crosswalks, accessibility, getting around better, and even looking at some different options of how we can look at things differently as we look to make things a little more beautiful and present in this beautiful town. Lastly, just want to acknowledge we have a bit of a celebrity in the front row tonight, the first winner of the lottery here, and I just thought I'd let you know that the $44,000 that I lent you last year, I'm okay with picking it up at any time.
Go ahead, Pam.
Welcome, everyone. As Councillor Pop said about the Butter Tart Festival, the first ever, they are planning already for this next year. They don't have the numbers in, but they're looking really good. One vendor said they brought 9,000 tarts and they were going home with probably, at that point, was about 6 tarts. And a lot of the other ones had sold out. And our first prize winner was Tin Mill, so congrats to them, hometown. And this year, Experience is donating to Uxbridge Creative Connections. And it's a very important cause. and we'll hope that people come out to the show. You'll see me on stage, and a lot of other ones, and having a good time. So this will really help to donate the money from this event to the recipients. And also to remember, this Saturday from 7:30 till 12:30 is the Lions Pancake Breakfast. So hope to see a lot of you out that morning. I know my husband and I will be there having our pancakes. Yay, I don't have to make breakfast. Anyways, thank you very much.
Okay, go ahead, Tom.
It's great to see everyone out, and our first responders. It's great to see them and the service awards that are going to happen. Councillor Beach, Councillor Rona and myself attended a one-day conference last week, and it was excellent. Just getting in some more information about how to function within a council and all that, especially ourselves, two of us as new ones. So that was good. I also did a visit and talk to our Prime Timers group at the Uxbridge Baptist Church on behalf of the Mayor, and that was well received, and had a really good time with them. So, thank you.
Only one quick thing, similar training. We have it's called new councillor training, which is really important for new councillors to go to, and some experienced ones as well, because there's a lot of new things happening. So it was a great opportunity to go to that. Shout out to our staff, because a lot of the things that they were covering off and people were awestruck at, we've already had covered off through either our own internal training or just the coaching that we've had from staff, which has been fantastic. So still worthwhile, but tip of the hat to the people we have right here in the room with us. But that's it.
Thank you very much. Now, we had the Butter Tart Festival, we've got the Pancake Breakfast. I'm not sure when the Diabetic Clinic is coming, but it's got to be soon. Before we go any further, any items not listed on the agenda, Madam Clerk?
Through your worship, there is one addendum with a report from yourself, and a second addendum with an item going into closed session. That council will be going into closed session tonight.
Okay, excellent. Now for the firefighters in the room. We've, the chief, if you could come up, Bill, that'd be great. And we've got some service awards. I'm not going to sing, Ingrid. And guys, while I'm going over here, the commitment that you all make to our community is unbelievable. We hear about the really bad calls as councillors, but I know how often you're all called out of your homes, Christmas morning, Sunday afternoon dinners. I understand the commitments that you make, and we greatly appreciate it. Go ahead, Phil.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and members of council. I'd like to recognize on behalf of the province of Ontario, recognize three of our staff tonight with significant milestones in their career. So if you give me just a minute, I'll introduce each and explain something that they've done for the community. First of all, firefighter Glenn Forsyth is celebrating 25 years of service. Glenn obviously he's been a long-serving member, but he's meant a lot to the department. Shortly after beginning in the department, he took over the duties as a truck supervisor. The position was then called from long-term serving member Jack Gordon, who's here tonight as well. And he's looked after our apparatus for that at least 20 years now, and it's a tribute to Glenn that the apparatus is in the condition and the ready state that it's in every day. Glenn's been a mentor to firefighters along the way. He's developed the first pump operators course. Back in the day, we used to pass that responsibility from senior firefighter to senior firefighter, and it was under Glenn's leadership that we developed an actual training course, and he led that training for many years. And he's been a mentor to firefighters as well as fire officers, myself included on the fire ground when we're approaching a scene. Glenn's calm manner is always a welcome addition to any incident. Anyway, so Glenn has also, unfortunately, sadly, determined he's going to pass the torch on as well, and he's retiring at the end of this month. And he'll be passing those responsibilities on to someone else. But I'd like to thank Glenn for 25 years of service. And maybe perhaps when we get all three introductions done, we can have them all up for their presentation. But so Glenn Forsyth, 25 years of service to the Uxbridge Fire Department. Secondly, two gentlemen, Ken Maynard, Captain Ken Maynard, and Deputy Chief Bill Graham. They both started on the fire department on the same day, and they're completing 35. They have passed 35 years of service with the department, and they together are the longest current serving members of the department. Ken was promoted to captain in February of 1994, and shortly after that he had the distinction of also becoming the first full-time member of the fire department when a fire full-time position was created for a fire prevention officer, even in advance of a full-time fire chief. So Ken's been also a great asset on the fire ground throughout his whole career, but particularly for me over the last couple of years, his knowledge of the fire code, and we meet every morning about what's going to go on today, tomorrow, the next week, and in the short term to talk about what things might come before council. And Ken's responsible for attending meetings on behalf of the fire department for pre-construction and plans examinations and things like that. So I'd like to thank Ken for 35 years of service. Finally, Deputy Chief Bill Graham. Bill, like I mentioned, started with Ken. Bill was promoted to Deputy Chief from Captain in January of 1994, I think, to coincide when Chief Peck took over from Chief James. So Chief Peck is also here tonight. And Bill has been Deputy Chief ever since. He's outlasted 3 chiefs, and he's on his 4th. And so he is a testament to his durability, I think. So he's, I should just for a moment speak. Bill is, I can think of very few things that Bill would place in higher importance than the reputation of the local fire department. And he lives every day to make sure that we honor the uniform in the town and everything we do, and that is very much appreciated. He's started out as deputy to Chief Peck, and they were all volunteer positions, and the chief position's grown into a full-time one, and as a part-time deputy, Bill puts in all the time that a full-time deputy would, and it's really appreciated. I think from my own experience, I had 7 years as a deputy chief, and I think the deputy chief is the most difficult position on the fire department, because you have to sometimes deliver messages from the chief or from the administration that's unpopular for the rank and file, and do it with grace and in a positive manner, and you also have some difficult things to bring forward to the chief at the same time that might be sensitive, and he does that with care, and I certainly appreciate that. And I can think of several occasions, even in the last few weeks, when situations have arisen, and Bill stepped up and said, just give me a few days to work with that, and we'll see if we can sort that out for you. So anyway, so I thank Bill for 35 years of service.
Come on up, gentlemen.
So do you 3 gentlemen want to come forward, and we'll present, so in each case they're, okay. So in each case these are awards from the province. For Glenn, it's his first time recipient of the provincial medal, so it's a full medal. And for Bill and Ken, it is service bars and medallions to go on their uniform dress, or uniform of the day dress bars, and I will get them properly mounted so that they'll look sharp on their uniforms. And one other small item here, the province also generously sends along a trillium brooch for the significant other of the 25-year medal recipient award. And so not to put Paulette on the spot, but thinking like a firefighter, if I don't give this to you now, he's going to save it and pretend it's a Christmas or a birthday present. So I'll, if you would come up, we'll present this to you as well.
I'm your +1, too. And just before you get that, thank you for your part in this as well. You know, without the commitment that the whole family makes, this doesn't work. So thank you. It's amazing.
No,
Okay. So these last two, these are just add-ons to the existing metals that these two gentlemen have. Another service bar to go on the metal that they already have, and so we'll take all this back from them at the end of the evening, and we'll get them properly mounted so they all look good on their uniforms.
And Bill, Ken, your commitments is amazing. You're extremely valuable resources every day to the department, and we couldn't do this without you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Sure. Yeah, that's what it's saying. Yeah, can we get everyone up? Can you get us all in? Yeah. Okay. Here's what we okay. 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 Again, guys, thanks for coming here and supporting the team, and thanks for everything you do every day. Appreciate it. And Abdul and Nitin, you guys are up. So just be ready when when the room clears. But you can come up now and prepare. Yeah. Thank you very much. Just wait until the room clears before you speak, though. Thanks. You're probably good to start now if you want, guys. Thank you very much. And you know how to turn on the mics, right? Thanks, Abdul.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for giving us an opportunity to provide an update on the development. We do have continuous meetings with the mayor and some other staff lately throughout the winter. And I'm happy to report that we are in a position right now, we'll be starting work next week. And the first is we will be trying to, from safety point of view, we'll be fencing the site again or tightening up the fence wherever required, and also securing the site from safety point of view. We have these guys and architecture, they will be managing the project. If there will be any technical questions, they will be able to answer. And also the project schedule is about 2 years, the whole thing. And the first, so right now, next couple of weeks, what we're going to do is starting next week, we'll have a trailer on site, we'll have a super there every day, and we'll make sure the site is secure from safety standards. And we'll be starting with some grading and surfacing work first, and after that is done, we'll be moving on to concrete work to level the basement and close it, and then continue from there. So if anybody has any questions, we will be happy to answer.
Yeah, I'll open this up to questions. Todd, do you want to go first?
Out of curiosity, from a security standpoint, will you have on-site video security going for this build?
I think yes. Eventually we will have a on-site video surveillance.
And would that be where there's somebody observing it 24/7 off-site? Most of the larger projects that I know of
Right.
are now going that route, where they have off-site, so the cameras are 24/7.
We will have the cameras. We still have to figure out if it's going to be 24/7, but we might, you know.
Yeah, if it's required,
If it's
you guys
required, we
think
can
it's
hire a
necessary,
service.
We can do that,
Yeah.
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 Okay. I
Typically,
just-
we have the cameras if there's an incident, and then we go back and see.
One of the reasons I would suggest it, from
Right.
our standpoint anyway, would be, you know, we already know that that location is a graffiti location
I
to
see.
begin with, that
Right.
one wall,
Right.
which I'm gathering that wall's not coming down. That's a crash wall.
Cash wall, yeah.
So from that standpoint alone,
Mm.
but also from the standpoint of, as you're continuing to build, it'll become a spot of curiosity.
If you we'll look into it, we'll go back and we'll look into that. If, as we start the project, if we really need, there is something happening, we will bring in, or if anybody serious has a concern. Otherwise, cameras will be there. As Nitin said, if there will be an issue, we will be able to track back. Unless somebody really come in and break all the cameras, I don't know. But yeah, so whatever is required, it will be in place.
Okay, any other questions? Ben? Oh, sorry, it's Willie's ward, let's go there first, Ben. Go ahead, Willie.
Okay. Good afternoon or good evening, gentlemen. I'm pleased to hear that we're starting work next week, but can you give us a little more detail on what that's going to look like? As you take us through the spring on what that's going to look like. We were told previously, you know, we were going to get some work done, and then we hung for a bit. And I'd just like to get a better idea of what your plan is for the next 8 to 10 weeks and what that's going to look like.
I think there was a construction schedule, right?
I think you can just,
I have it, but was that forwarded?
We have a complete schedule for next 2 years.
Right.
We can pass on to you guys. So that's what it is. I said starting next week, we'll start with securing the site. We will have a super on site every day. We'll be bringing in trailers. And the first we're going to do is we'll de-water the site, and then we'll start from surfacing work. That will run for a couple of weeks. Then after that, as weather gets a little bit better, we will be continuing to move on to the concrete work. And then from after that, that part is done, the next will be steel and all that. So we have a complete schedule. We can pass on to the...
May I approach?
I think so, but just in case you guys aren't aware of the property that we're talking about either 2 or 4 Victoria, depending on...
Yeah.
4.
4 Victoria, so 4 Victoria, and it's right by, shoot, what's it called again? Smokehouse. It's just west of the Smokehouse.
Yeah.
Carry on. That's not sure.
Yeah. I'm pleased to hear, you know, further on, I'm pleased to hear that we're going to have somebody on site. I'm not sure, perhaps, you know, our planning department made you aware. So last Friday in our high windstorm, the fence was blown down, the gate was open. The actual fence chain wasn't locked. It was wrapped around and just kind of sitting there. So we actually had 2 members of council put the fence back up on Friday night. And when I tried to call the numbers on the fence that said in case of emergency, they were tech company numbers for assistance. So I'm not sure if those were from you or the prior ownership of the property, but for a general public inquiry about something that was relatively concerning, we weren't able to get in contact with you. So I'm just hopeful as we move forward in getting these things done, that we can manage the property, the safety of everybody that way. And we'd already talked prior about some of the other things, so I won't bring those up. But it would just, as you can see, we're a little bit apprehensive. It's been a long time, and we're hoping to have a better understanding. We'll review the planning document and see where we're at after that. I just feel like we need to have more assurances on where we're going.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll give that, and then I'll make sure we're making a copy of the construction schedule, so we'll make sure all members of council have that.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
It's great news that it's starting. I think it'd be beneficial, and I appreciate the plans coming. So I've got a couple of decades of project management experience behind me, so and detail is kind of what I do. I think it'd be useful to the people here to be able to hear specific things that will happen between now and, say, the 1st of May?
So that's what I said is in the plan. So the first thing we need to do is like, we need to secure the fence. So the first is the safety concerns. We need to address that. I think most of them will be done next week. And then next we need to do kind of a progression the way those tasks are scheduled. The next is we need to do grading the site and the surfacing work. That will go next because we have to do that first. And then after that we'll start, basically there's a lot of concrete work we need to do, including closing the basement and all that. So I think that will take next, I would say, about 6 weeks around that time.
So are the footings, what happens to the stuff that we see there today? That's staying and you're building up from it, or that's coming out?
It's, whatever you see today, it's staying unless we see during the construction we have to. Otherwise, as per plan, we have given, provided the detailed plan what we're going to do. So we'll be extending the existing foundation, and what you see today, we will be keeping the existing slab, and so we will be building on top of it, and we'll be extending a little bit. So there are complete, basically drawings and everything with Brian. If anybody wants to take a look, they are there.
Yeah, the existing structure was reviewed by a structural engineer some time back. So our first task would be to have that reviewed once again before, to ensure that everything has stayed in place and it's strong enough to carry the next 4 or 5. Yes, so that's going to be one of our first tasks as well.
So the site supervisor, what skills is he? Is he?
So he's a PEng,
Okay.
Obviously through you, Mr. Mayor. So first of all, he is a PEng. He has about 25 years of experience. He's worked on projects like schools and such for the Toronto District School Board. So he's a fairly experienced site super. Unfortunately, he's not in, but 1st of April, you'll probably see him on the site.
So he's there just like on site. Is that like
he's on site.
8 to 5 days a week?
Yes.
Probably even 6, depending on if he work on Saturday morning. So yeah, definitely 5 days a week. Yeah, 8 to 5. Yeah.
You can just see. I mean, the tone of the questions is a lot of concerns of getting to this point. Thrilled that we're here. We just like to have continuous assurances that this time it's real. So not doubting you, just saying the more good news you can share with us and the community, the more excitement we'll build around your project.
Yep.
Communications is going to be key.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Go ahead, Gordon. Oh, sorry, Pam's first.
I'm glad you answered that question about the structural reassessment, because that was one of my questions.
I see.
And is that going to be done soon, or?
Yes, we already have the same people who did way back a couple of years ago. They came back again, they took the samples again. So
Okay.
we'll be expecting a report, I would say maybe this week or early next week, yes.
Great, because we just don't want it to be held up
Yeah,
anymore.
no, it's
And I'm
already
sure you
under
want to
work.
get going too.
Yeah.
Just on the construction schedule, as you probably know, we're doing a huge culvert project. I know it's in the next block, but with your construction going on in this, it could be quite hectic. So maybe if you want to coordinate with staff to make sure that your truck routes aren't in conflict with what they're doing, so that we don't have any issues downtown. So I'm just putting it out there for your future consideration. And I think the last time you were in, we talked about the perimeter fence that butters onto Brock Street and Victoria. And I think at that one point you mentioned once the grading was completed, you'd be able to move that back further into the site, because the sight lines there are bad, to say the least. Do you have any timeline on when that grading would be done, or are you waiting just to see how it unfolds? Or
I would say, as we go through the construction, we have to see, but I would say next 2 months it should go
Okay.
in.
I think you'll see a lot of progress in the next 2 months.
yeah, because you have the public school, as you know, just up the road, and it's quite hectic there in the mornings and in the afternoons. So, thank you, gentlemen.
Oh, go ahead, Pam.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyways, some of my questions have been answered. The printing's pretty small on this, so I'm going to ask the question.
Right.
In August, where are you going to be at with the building, if everything goes according to the way you've planned it out?
So in August, we'll probably have, based on our current schedule, which is contingent on a couple of items, but the site services should be done, site prep should be done, most of the excavation should be done, the basement, foundation, concrete work should be done, and we should be 10 to 15% complete on structural steel. Waterproofing, of course, weeping tiles, backfill, compaction should all be done. And the core slab work, we'll probably, we would have ordered the core slab by then. So we are hoping that we'll be out of the ground, so to speak of, the site servicing done, the basement work done, and now we are working on the main level.
So what things are depending, as you said?
Payment flow, you know, that's always the case. I'm sure there's going to be
No,
no
it's not. So
no
basic-
issue.
yeah.
Weather, site conditions,
Yeah.
availability of trades. So we are currently locking in trades. We have most of the trades almost locked in. And again, the structural report is going to play a big role on that. So we really don't see any issue, but it's construction, so
So
it's always...
for just this building,
Yeah.
number 4,
Mhm.
it's going to be 2 years to complete?
It's 2 years.
Okay.
2 years.
Will there be at any point need for road closure around as you're bringing in some of the building materials?
Road closure, per se, like for a long term, I don't think so, no.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, just
yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Thank
yeah,
you.
Yeah.
But there could be some chance that when heavy equipment is kind of like a steel or maybe some other stuff, even in the start when we do surfacing work, if we need to coordinate, we'll go through a proper channel and we'll honor the protocol, whatever that is.
Right.
Any other questions from council? Go ahead, Will.
Just with regards to the parking lot left, do you plan on staging there immediately, or how are you going to use up that space, or when will that be more fenced in for
On
the...
the other side,
Yes,
168?
yes.
No, we're leaving it for now.
So you don't need any, you're not going to require any space there for equipment, materials, anything at this stage? Just
Yeah.
wondering about the parking lot with regards to, we do a lot of things in town throughout the summer.
No, definitely if we need, that's why we're keeping it like that. If we need to stage something, definitely we will be using it.
So your employees will be using that, utilizing
Yes,
that
yes,
space as well?
yes.
Okay.
But if you guys use it for some purpose, some event is coming up, just coordinate with us, we can, whatever we could do. But definitely we'll be using it, no, it all depends what type of trade is so we might have to keep some close to the road on the Brock so that it's easy to go back and forth, but yeah.
Great. And just lastly, I'm glad to hear that your PNG is familiar with doing stuff with the school boards, with the school right around the corner there, and, you know, gates opening and closing. We've got crossing guards on that corner there. As Councillor Hyatt alluded to, it's a tough visibility corner, and it's a high traffic for, you know, a lot of young children. So if we can have your staff on high alert when they're working through that area, it would be greatly appreciated.
Okay.
Go ahead, Pam.
Just to make you aware of, and you may already be aware of this, but Thomas the Train comes to Uxbridge August the 9th, 10th, 11th, and then the 16th, 17th, 18th. And we have approximately 20,000 people that come in, and they're going to be going right around that corner up Railway Street.
So all those dates, 9th, 10th, 11th, and the other one you said, all in August?
Yes.
Okay.
Just so that you're aware, because, as I said, like, I mean, there's going to be baby strollers, little toddlers, all kinds of kids, and, you know, you won't be likely working on the Saturday or the Sunday, but the Friday, it just gets really crazy. And I'm just concerned about all the families, making sure that everything is safe.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Is there any other questions from council? Guys, thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr.
As you can tell by the sense of the room, this has been an issue, this property, and the majority of this is not your fault.
No, that's what I just want to say in closing is basically we did what we could. There was some issues on our end. It happened, engineering and all that. But I think we are there. We all need your guys' support. Wherever we can improve anything, please, through wherever the channel is, bring to us. We are open, but now I think we're ready to go, and hopefully in, I would say, by end of this year, the whole picture will change on that corner.
And that's critical to us, and we
Yes,
appreciate
yes,
it.
yes.
And then we do also have to discuss facade at some point, so
Yes, yes.
just tell me when you're coming to town and we can chat.
Okay, no problem. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so
Good
much.
night.
Thank you.
Yep. What's that? Oh, we have just let me make sure. Are you guys okay taking questions from the press right now? Is that okay? Okay. Again, I just wanted to make sure, Roger, that you obviously have a question.
I just have a question for you, Mayor.
Oh, sure.
If I may. Did the gentleman provide you with a written timeline of the construction project?
Yes, but it's difficult to read because the font is probably 2. So it's difficult to read.
But could we get a copy of that anyway?
We'll send you a digital
Yeah.
copy, sorry.
So we'll get a digital copy, Roger, and are you gentlemen okay with the press having a copy of that?
But don't put it in the newspaper, the whole thing. Timeline is okay. As I give you a timeline, starting from next week, it's about 25 months project. So, yeah, goes all the way up to April
Abdul,
2021.
your mic isn't on. Can you turn on?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's about 25 months project, starting from next week.
Madam Clerk, I just need clarification. On something like this, how do we provide privacy to a property owner, but also transparency to the media? On something like a timeline? Okay, so you'll email a copy to the press? You're okay
Well,
with
we'll
that?
send it to, I guess,
Yeah.
somebody at the city.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about, that being printed or
No, we
sent to
don't
the
want
press.
it to be printed the
Right.
same way. Just
Yeah.
the timeline. I gave the
Okay.
timeline.
Yep.
It's as I said, it's
Yeah.
starting. Let's say we take it from next week. It's about 25 months.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's, once again, as we discussed, it's contingent upon a couple of things. We just found out about Thomas the Train, like, this evening itself. So that's like a couple of days, and could be some other items, right? So we don't,
Yeah. Okay.
want it to be probably published.
Thanks, Nitin.
Yeah. Thank you.
There's one other question, or maybe 2. Moya, do you want to go first?
Sorry, I would just want to confirm on the address. I know Councillor Beach asked, you mentioned it would take 2 years for this building alone. Is there another building as well in the project?
So directly to the west of it, there's the parking lot where the Uxbridge Fireplaces is, and it's also owned by these gentlemen as well. So they purchased it together.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there has been a site plan,
Yeah.
gas bar going in on that site, and that will happen after this project.
But we will start maybe at the end of when all the building is closed and all that. Then we have to start some point in time. Yes. Yeah. But at the end of the project. Yes.
At the end of the project.
Okay,
Go ahead.
sorry, can I just follow up? Because I was
Of
just
course.
confused before, you always refer to it as 2 Victoria. So the gas bar would be 2 Victoria, this one is 4 Victoria,
No.
or no?
168 Brock.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, other side of the tracks. Both properties are in the same site plan.
okay, thank you.
You need the microphone.
I was just wondering, we have the name of one person on the agenda, but we don't have the name of the other person, and I don't know who is on which side of the
Okay.
desk.
What name is on the? So I'm Abdul, and I'm the owner, and he's Nitin. We have hired his firm for project management.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll send the media, all 3 of you, the names. Okay. All right. Again, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
As I said before, this is a very important project. It's been a scar on our downtown for a long time, and we appreciate you investing in Uxbridge.
Okay, thank you.
And thanks for
Thank
being
you.
willing to come in. We
Thank you.
appreciate
Good
it.
night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, now we've got our planning document. So there's a couple things that are going to be delayed. I will pass this meeting over to Councillor Hyatt. Explained it. Sorry about that. All right. Next, we've got Rachel Robinson. Sorry, Aaron. Okay. Thanks, Aaron.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for speaking with me tonight. Like I said, I'm here on behalf of myself and Rachel Robinson. We're seeking Council support for our small event, townwide event called the Barton Farms Egg Hunt, which we hope to hold for the 3rd year in a row on Saturday, April 20th at 10 a.m. So our event is hosted at Harima Fields. we keep it fairly simple with a cap of about 125 Easter egg hunters, which has been a number that has worked really well with our venue. In the past, we've had some really great community sponsors who have supported and donated to our event by helping us purchase consumables like chocolates and various items for goodie bags for the children, and also some reusable items such as some plastic baskets and thousands of little plastic Easter eggs. So this year we've been really excited because we've been having a lot of parents already coming in contact with us wanting to know if we're going to be holding it again, and we've let them know that we are seeking approval from council this year. Yeah, it's a fun and safe family event that Rachel and I have really enjoyed organizing the past couple of years, and
do you have anything else to add, or?
Well, just in that, I suppose what we would be asking for is just permission to use Harima Fields for our event, to have the parking lot open to blockades removed, use of the pavilion, and I don't think that washrooms is a possibility. I think we've been told before that they are not open at that early in the year, so. But I mean, if it was possible, that would be great.
Okay. All right. The one issue might be insurance, so have you guys figured that out?
Yes, we have an insurance quote. We just have to go through with it, and it's not a problem at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. I knew that would be one of the questions. So
yes,
I thought,
liability insurance we've covered. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions from council? Yes, go ahead, Pam.
Is this a free event for the kids?
So this year, we are hoping that we can make it a free event, and years dollars per child under 3 free. But we are hoping that we can get enough sponsorships this year to make it a free event. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Bruce.
No question. It's just some emails back. I don't know if it was with you or
probably Rachel.
Probably Rachel. Just reaching out saying, "Hey, what's going on?" Like, I can't wait. This is a fun event.
Thank
I'm
you.
coming.
Yeah.
No, it's in my word. That's all I'm saying. So.
Yeah.
Oh, we love it.
I snuck in last year. They thought I was one of the kids. Okay, any other questions from the council? Hey, Willie, I sent you a text. You want to look at it? Sure. There might be an add-on. What do you think?
I think, can we check on the use of the facility, or is that the washroom?
Oh, yeah, so put that into your motion, that we will reach out to Bob and see if we can get the water turned on.
And
won't freeze.
Right.
That should be okay.
And even if possible, if we could have it checked into the canteen as well, that would be useful.
Okay, let me give this a shot for you.
Yeah.
See if I can cover this all, and someone catch me if I fall. So, I'll make a motion to for use for the Barton Farm annual Easter egg hunt, 3rd time, to use the pavilion and get those barricades down so they can make use of the parking lot at Harima Fields, and for staff to also investigate whether or not we can free up the washroom and make the canteen available. And they'd report back.
That would be great. Thank you.
Just one more question, and we might amend it a bit just to see. Erin, I know you're charging for it. Proceeds go towards supporting the event. It's not a charitable group that you're doing.
No, it's just to purchase consumables, cover insurance. We get an Easter Bunny costume, loot bags. Every child gets a loot bag when they leave. So yeah, it's just to run the event.
Friendly motion. Really I want to be the Easter Bunny.
Okay, so there's not a friendly amendment. No, that wasn't. That was on something else. Okay, so go through your whole thing again one more time. Thanks, Bruce.
And just one second. Can you just reconfirm the date for us, please?
Yeah, it's Saturday, April 20th.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Bruce.
Okay, try this again. So make a motion for the 3rd annual Barton Farms Easter egg hunt on April 20th, 2019 to use the Harima Field, including the parking lot, so we need to remove the barriers, make full use of the pavilion, and for staff to investigate whether or not they can use the washroom and the canteen area.
Okay, seconder? Todd? All those in favor? That's carried.
Great.
Aaron, thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much.
It's been an amazing event
Thank you.
for a number of years, and I just snuck in last year for a couple minutes.
Great. Well, we hope to see everyone there again this year.
Excellent.
Thanks so much. Have a nice night.
Okay, next we have, guessing Adam Perks? You're up. The only rule is you have to turn on the mic. That's the only thing we're tough on. You've done everything right so far. Thank you.
First of all, good evening, and thank you everyone for seeing me tonight. I am the owner of the Smokehouses. Tonight I want to talk about our Uxbridge store, which has been an unbelievable success since we opened it. At the town of we are a mom and pop shop. Mom's back there. So what we do is we do everything within our reason of money. We do not have any loans out. So we are at the stage now where the owner of the building is allowing us to take the back half of the building. So we'll be extending to having a private dining room. More importantly, we'll be having a washroom upstairs, which is fantastic. That being said, we would like to put a patio on the back part of the building as phase 1. Phase 2 is when we get more money, we want to make the building wheelchair accessible. Wow. So our Port Perry store won the Accessibility Award for all Durham region last year. I'm not sure if you know, we have a Braille menu. Our website is designed for Braille readers, and we have a big print menu. It's very important for me. My mom was blind, so it's very important for me to do that. However, working with the town and the Tuesday people at the library, we're trying to find out the origin of the building. We can't find any information about if it's historical, when it was built, when it was raised, when it was built again, because the doorway would have to be changed. So the person from the town said I would have to get the building to make sure I could take the doorway out. It may be a historical building, it may have some significance, so we can't do that yet. We want to take the back half, like I said, put the wheelchair washroom in, put the deck in with a ramp ready for it, and then if we're able to put that door in, we are done.
Amazing.
So I don't know what you require of me. He told me that freestanding patio not attached to the building did not require a permit.
Okay.
But it required an agreement, and that's why I'm here. So I do not know what that agreement entails, so I am here at your mercy to tell me what I need to do.
Okay, well,
I did have a drawing made just to show you how big it is, what it's going to be, where it is from the houses behind us and beside us. You need to look at that.
okay. So, Madam Clerk, do you want to just explain to us? And I want to make sure I get it right.
To enter into an encroachment agreement, I'm suspecting. I did look at that property actually for some parking things back a couple weeks ago, and I recognize that it's kind of an odd configuration on the parcel.
Yes.
So what I would suggest, if council's willing to do this, is to refer to staff for a report. We could bring back a report on exactly what would be required in terms of an agreement going forward, duration, etc., and then we can go from there.
We do decide to have the patio. There are 2 houses behind the property, and the patio actually is 9 feet from the property line towards us.
Oh, okay.
There is a large tree on the property. I would love to be able to keep it and build a deck around it. There are some bushes that are just rampant and just going to take care of those. But the tree I really would like to keep if I can.
Okay. Now, your landlord also owns the house directly behind, right?
He does.
Okay.
And that's not going to be a problem, he said, as far as getting permission.
Okay.
That's the real reason, is people behind, I want to make sure they're okay with it.
Okay. All right, so what we've been told, Council, is to pass this to staff to get a report together. But, so if we could get a motion for that. And then, yeah, so that moved by Todd, seconded by Willie. Oh, now, any questions from Council? Yeah, go ahead, Gord.
You're going to serve liquor, I guess, on the patio zone?
That will be up to the fire department and the liquor license. We are up for renewal, and we have to reapply because of the back half. And every time we touch them, it's $1,000. So I was hoping to do the patio, the back half, and reapply all at the same time, saving me $2,000.
Yeah, alcohol and
That was
gaming,
how
yeah.
that is. But just so everyone knows, if you haven't been there, we close at 8 o'clock at night. We are not a bar. We're a family restaurant. We just happen to serve craft beer, and we do wine. And that's
You
it.
answered my next question, is because, is there music outside after dark? And that's...
Yeah, there's no
where we
after
run
dark,
into
and
issues.
we would, again, follow whatever rules you have for noise levels. I would love to have an acoustic guitar player Sunday afternoon, like the Second Wedge. If
Yeah.
not, it is what it is.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Okay. Gary, do you have a question?
Yeah, there's gonna be some major construction going on not very far from you.
I just heard that.
I hope it doesn't affect your...
I thought that would be the worst
Your
patio season of the
patio.
year, yes. Once it's up, it's up. I'm actually curious to know what it's gonna be next door now.
I have a photo somewhere, so, but we
Okay.
have some photos, so we can
Okay.
make sure we share that with you.
It's gonna be office space, and they're all gonna be hungry.
That's what we're hoping. We were hoping that, yes. Yeah, that's great.
And I'm
So-
guessing the people that are gonna build it will also be hungry.
Yes, this town has been fantastic to us. We actually debated a month ago closing Port Perry and putting all our eggs in Uxbridge, because the expansion there is fantastic. We love it. And just so, if it makes any difference, December 31st, we're gonna purchase the building. That's the next phase of our agreement with John. If you know him, he's slow. And we're there now. We had to prove ourselves that we were gonna honor his building. That was the main reason before I did any going further.
John used to cut my hair when I was...
He still cuts
No,
everyone's hair, I think, on Tuesdays.
All right, we haven't voted on this yet. Is there any other questions from council? Okay, so just before we vote, listen, I love that you're here. I love mom and pop businesses in town. At least a few pounds is because of you on my frame, so congratulations. And again, you guys are running a great show. Brandon is amazing, so.
We
thank
actually want to get in touch with the lady, because I would like to help sponsor that Easter egg hunt.
Oh, cool.
We're all about giving back to the town. Port Perry, we do a lot. We're slowly building Uxbridge now. And I don't know anybody in Uxbridge, so these are good resources to give out.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, thank you very much. So all those in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you kindly.
All right. Okay, you should run, Aaron. All right, next, can we get someone to approve the minutes? Moved by Pam, seconded by, one second, Willie?
No, just,
Amendment first? Thanks. Hey, Brock. Brock, give your wife that, okay? Oh. Which? Oh,
Yeah, just, I don't have my email here, just a sec. I think it was Section 4, Committee Report of the 25th of February, Section 4, Sub B.
Okay.
It wasn't 2 days of the conference, I was there for the full 4 days.
okay,
I have an amendment as well.
okay.
On the special meeting of council on March 4, I think it's the second page, 2019-030, it says that I moved and seconded. I don't think that I can do that, can I? Probably.
We get you and Pam mixed up, so it might have been her. All right, so both those amendments? Okay, could I get someone to, Pam is gonna move the amended minutes. Could I get someone to second that? That's Willie. All those in favor? Okay, that's carried. Next, you want this one? Oh, yeah, okay. So, we have correspondence, number 171. This is from Durham Region in regards to their tree bylaw and their 5-year review. Any comments on this, folks? Yeah, Willie?
I was just going to say, just being on the Trails Committee, I thought it was a very interesting document. As we look at what we do around town, definitely think it's a good one to definitely forward to our Trails Committee, just to keep them in the know on it, for one thing. And, also just kind of how they looked at, how we manage that space was very interesting to me. I thought it was a very good read.
Yes, Madam Clerk.
Your Worship, also just as a note, I did send out an email earlier today with respect to the draft Woodland Conservation and Management Plan, and there is a PIC coming up in Scugog, and I can't remember the date. April 1st. Sorry, April 2nd. Nope, April 1st.
Okay, thanks for that very decisive response. All right, and then my thoughts on this, well, I think we should be sending it to the Environmental Committee for a comment. And then the one thing I didn't read in it was I'm seeing more and more developers become farmers for a little while, do some land clearing, it seems, and then soon after ask for approval of their development. I'd like to see some wording in there that if you're going to clear land for agricultural purposes, that there's a significant period of time until you can send in a development application, maybe 20 years or something. That would be my comment to it. Yeah, Todd. So.
Yeah, I would agree to that comment based on stuff that I've had to deal with within my own ward currently. The clearing of trees under agricultural purposes, knowingly being done based on the fact that they're going to look to build down the road. So
certainly, I think it should be addressed.
It needs to be controlled.
And it might have been somewhere in that report, and maybe I missed it, but that would be the one piece I'd want the Environmental Committee to take a look at and maybe find out some wording that might work for us. Go ahead, Pam.
In that wording is that they are presently farming, and where are they farming? Because otherwise it can just get out of hand a little bit, like we've seen.
Yeah. Now, we have seen some agricultural work being done. There's some on the federal lands south of Claremont. There was lots in Uxbridge that we know they're draining land for agriculture. They wouldn't spend that kind of money, but just clearing trees is a little bit different. I didn't think I said anything funny, but obviously I did. Okay, go ahead, Todd.
I think part of the education piece behind that is the reason for doing some of that also helps with building down the road as well when you're draining the land.
Okay, and maybe I need to be corrected on that. But anyway, so can we get a motion maybe to receive this, forward it to the Trails and Environmental Committee with maybe some of my comment and any others that go through? Oh, sure.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, could I get a seconder, Pam? All those in favor? That's carried, thank you. Okay, next. Oh, what's that? She was way more serious before I was there. All right, next I think we've got 173, am I correct? Okay, next we've got 173. This is Jill Thomas. She's chair of the Uxbridge Defeat Depression Walk. And they'd like to use our parking lot of the Countryside Preserve. Did we miss one? Okay, just a second. That's why. There we go. Thanks. 172 is from the municipality of Clarington and their regional governance review. What would we like to do with this? Gord? Bruce? Go ahead.
Just going to make a motion to receive, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Just going to add a comment. So they're focusing on the regional review. My only question was, it's great to receive this information and understand what other municipalities are doing. Are we doing the same type of thing with these?
So we haven't yet. We as council can certainly, you can direct me to do this.
Well, just look for your leadership on it. So
okay.
I respect what they're trying to do. I'm just looking to see, I'm just thinking, would Clarington receive something like this from us saying these are our thoughts on what's happening?
So that's typically the process. So if we, just sharing of information like this to give us some ideas. So we could receive this and then put together our own documentation as well. Ingrid, I think, wants to speak.
No, I was just gonna say, I think probably a lot of it is the information that you shared with those two advisors anyway. All of the mayors in Durham Region individually met with the two advisors, and I think what we're seeing now is a number of those, municipalities are actually having reports come back to their councils to be presented to their councils for information, just so that everybody's clear on the position that has been taken.
So, if I can just add here, so the third comment from Clarington, that staff be directed to prepare a report proposing Clarington's input regarding the province's regional governance. So, I'm sure the meetings were had, shouldn't we be putting our collective input together to send to the province to say, and here's how we formally feel, unless that was covered in your meeting that I'm just not privy to?
So it was a one-on two was my meeting with these gentlemen. But again, as council, we could discuss it and figure out exactly where we stand on this as an entire council on how to move forward. And I think it's a very good idea. Now, Bruce, I think it was you who said you went through their online system and made some comments there. Is that you or someone else?
The survey.
I
did the survey.
Okay.
That's all. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. That's pushed by the province asking for people. It's a really good survey.
Yeah.
But
it was
that's
last
separate
week, I
from-
think you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So how about we receive it, and then we can get another motion. So motion to receive by Gord, seconded by Pam. All in favor of that? Okay, that's carried. Then Bruce, do you want to make a motion?
I'll just I'll see if I can get this. So I'd make a motion that the Township of Uxbridge also pull together a report to put a unified front representing the township's view on the regional review being conducted by the province.
Yep.
So asking the staff to start doing that. Did I get that wording quite right?
I've already prepared the document. That's part of what you took with you,
part
right?
of what. But then we have most of the information that we could put together, and we could put it on our next agenda.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So make a motion to have you do something you've already done?
Yes.
Okay.
Those are the best types.
I'm gonna push for it.
Okay.
Can I get a seconder to that? Seconded by Pam. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, now we'll go to 173. This is Joe Thomas from Uxbridge Defeat Depression, and it's a request to use our parking lot of the Countryside Preserve, assistance from Public Works, and the Uxbridge Fire Department. Okay, Pam, you have a comment?
A comment, I'd like to support it.
Yeah.
It's a good event. I question about the fire department because of the cost of having the truck and the firefighters that need to be there. That's the one part that I
have an idea on that.
Okay.
Okay. So, I think what's probably more important than the fire department would be the Durham Regional Police. So often they're called to things, to issues when it comes to mental health. Maybe Durham paramedics if they have the staff resources, but certainly the DRPS that we request that they are invited to put up, and maybe through the auxiliary, but to come and have a presence there. And it's very close to their new stations, so. Okay, comment, Todd?
You would probably want to go through their Community Services Bureau.
If only we had a police officer to give us advice. Ingrid?
Yeah, so we have a couple of logistical things, and some of these things are actually gonna cost money. So the use of portable toilets and hand washing stations. I'm assuming they think we may have them in inventory, but we don't. We'd have to rent them.
Oh.
That's number 5. And the blocking off of the parking lot shouldn't be a big deal, but they'd probably be blocked off for the whole weekend. You just need to be aware they'd probably be dropped off Friday, and the parking lot will be out of commission until Monday.
But just the little barriers, right?
But basically want block traffic to the parking lot and manage the flow of persons through the registration area. So that's not a big deal, but it's just you have to be mindful of the fact that they will probably sit there till Monday. But the portable washrooms, that's something that is a budget number. And I think they're asking us to waive that.
Okay. So why don't we craft a motion that supports it, unless you guys want to fund it, but I don't think we have resources for that. But how about we support it and give them permission to place porta potties and hand wash stations there at their own expense?
I agree.
Okay. Someone to second Pam's motion?
Okay,
Oh,
so we're changing the DPRS invitation to them rather than have the fire department. Okay, I agree with that, yes.
any other comments on this?
And are they looking for us to provide the garbage cans and recycle bins?
So, that's easy.
I think the assumption is, I was speaking earlier with Don about this, I think the assumption was that we have those there in place that they can use and that we would provide them. So, hence it becomes a little bit of a line item for us.
But I think we can allow that to work within our existing parks budget to run those over. They're all in stock, so that's not a huge expense. And again, the benefit to us is we're getting people outside, we're bringing attention to mental health, which is key. So I have no issues, I personally have no issues with having some typical expenses, but I don't think we need to have real budget items there. Okay, anything else? Any other comments? No? Okay, so that was moved by Pam, and the move is
that they need to seek out the costing for their porta potties and hand washing, I know, and for the police to invite them in some capacity.
Can I make a suggestion that that motion be a little clearer, and that basically you support the event, that the responsibility for the portable toilets and the wash stations will be theirs, that council is recommending that they approach DRPS and use them instead of the Uxbridge Fire Department. That's what you're saying, right? Then it's very clear and there's no confusion when the event draws closer.
Yes.
Can we add that we invite the paramedic service? Okay. That we also suggest they invite them? Gordon?
Last year, it's unfortunate we didn't get this before they left. The smokehouse people were there serving, so they may be able to cover some of this for the hand washing and that kind of stuff. So maybe this group wants to approach them or whoever else they were thinking about getting in.
Yeah, I think they said a couple of food trucks if I read it.
That's how I read it too.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that they contact them, and they may, because they are selling product, they may be willing to provide these other things in lieu of. So
Okay.
So whoever staff is talking to them, maybe take that suggested.
Okay. So do you want to second Pam's motion? Or you...
I'll second it, yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor? That's carried, thank you. All right, next we have 174, and that is Morgan Dobson, the DRPS implementation of the Community Neighborhood Watch in Barton Farm subdivision. Bruce, do you want to comment on this? And we have Michelle if we have any questions.
Only smiling because that's exactly what I was going to point out. Michelle has done a ton of work to make this happen, from meetings that have been brought people together to rally up the number of people that are in that area to pull this all together. Active on Facebook, generating interest, dealing with questions that we come in. And now we're going into the spring season, which is fantastic, except for the fact it gets people that we'd rather not walking around the streets doing things that we'd rather not have happen. So first off, I just want to point to Michelle. So Michelle, thank you so much for what you've done for the Barton Farms area. It's we really do as a council appreciate that. So thank you. As far as the letter from Morgan to now to go to the next stage where it's been officially declared neighborhood watch community, that we can get those signs up. So that's the request in front of us. So I don't know what's involved in getting that done to help them out. I'm kind of looking around here for some guidance. What is it, 7 signs without, 6 signs, thank you. How do 6 signs get installed quickly to help out here?
Ingrid, do you want to speak to that?
I don't know how to install signs.
Okay.
Next.
But no, that's something that Public Works could do. Probably, if they need poles, we'll just have to wait for the frost to get out of the ground, and then they can go in.
Okay, so we have to do
Were you
locates
thinking
too.
they'd go on existing poles or stop signs, or maybe Michelle can?
Yeah, why don't you come up, Michelle? And you know what, there's feedback on that mic, but if you want to tilt it to the left, there you go, and then speak from there. It might be better. Oh, it might not be.
Is that just a commentary on how loud I speak, or no?
No, there's a buzz with it today for some
okay.
reason.
So the request from Morgan Dobson, who's the Neighborhood Watch coordinator for all of Durham Region, is actually just for permission to erect the signs. You know, undercutting my own argument. Traditionally, the groups that are involved in the Neighborhood Watch, generally speaking, fundraise. So more on that perhaps in a future council meeting, to actually place the signs themselves. We expect that the 6 signs, will cost about $400, and so that would to be erected at every single entrance to Barton Farms. So that would be the current Don Lands. It would have to, of course, be moved later on when Harima goes through. That would be 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, Dominion. I think that's 6. So what we're seeking today is just permission to erect the signs in principle, and then perhaps we could come back to you at a later date with an ask for the actual signs themselves. Of course, it's usually the Works Department that we've relied on in the past to install them in different jurisdictions. There is a precedent, which is Quaker Village currently has the signs, but their Neighborhood Watch is not currently active. So once we've got our Barton Farms one up and running, I'd be more than happy to help out to get that one reactivated. And my goal would be to have one in every single community that we have here in the Township of Oxford.
Excellent. Now, something fairly important that we should have done about 3 minutes ago. Can I get a motion to have Michelle come up and speak? Oh. Moved by Pam, seconded by Todd. All those in favor? That's carried. All right. Any questions from? Okay. So we might have some funds that could assist with this. So why don't we go ahead, Ingrid?
I was going to say, if perhaps Michelle could give us the locations that you're thinking the sign should go, and that council would approve the cost for the purchase of the signs, and we would install them through the Works Department. I'm sure we can find $400.
No, 400 total.
Did you say it was 400
total?
Approximately, yes.
For all 6 signs?
Yeah, that's what we expect, yes.
Yeah,
Thank you. May I just say that I would be so grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, but we might want a little bit more detail on the map. It's pretty good, but in terms of... Yeah.
Okay, so I'll make the motion then first to support the installation of the signs, and second to work with Michelle and Morgan to get the exact placement for them, and for Public Works to purchase and install said signs.
And purchase. And seconded by Pam. Any questions on the motion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thanks, Michelle. Good to see you again. Ron, great to see you. All right, next we have, oh yeah, next we've lost Pam. She always leaves the meetings. No, you don't have to close it, it's fine. No, you're fine. Okay, so item number 175, this is from Greg. Comments dated March 21st in regards to their zoning bylaw amendment. Okay, comments on this? You don't all have to speak at once? Oh, there, thanks, Gord.
No, this is posted on the agenda, but is there a way, Debbie, that we can post this as a standalone document on our website? Okay. Because, you know, as much as they've answered the questions, it's a little bit late in the game here. I know they've been banging on the doors to residents, and I don't blame them trying to get specific answers to some of these questions, so I'm glad that they've provided them. But again, we have to make them as available as we possibly can, so. Okay, thank you.
And maybe on our personal social media accounts, we may want to share this information. This is the best information we've gotten back from Greenways to date, I would say. And it'd be nice if we also had some drawings for the building would be amazing as well. But And how many of us have been on to this site so far? Most of us, I think. So, yeah, so the majority of us have seen the existing operation in Aurora, which was just helped to understand what this was going to look like. So, all right. So, how about Gord? Do you want to give us a motion to receive this and put it?
Well,
confirm this put on.
I've already, staff has said they've already done it.
Okay.
If there's a way to make it jump off the page, because again, it gets buried with all the other stuff we have.
Okay, so put it in 3D,
Put
is
it
that
in
what you're looking for?
flashing lights and,
okay.
yeah, exactly.
No, and I'll make sure I share this on my page anyway.
Yeah, but I think spread the word that it's available now, so.
Just before you finish that, has there been any proposals of a change of design, or there's rumors, but Willie?
Go ahead, Willie.
I can speak to it. So I was, I think as I shared with the council in an email, that I was at their location last week, and I did a tour of the building and sat with somebody there and spoke about several different things food related to get a better understanding of it. And there was discussions now about having the silos internal to the building. So that would greatly, my understanding, I saw no design sketches, nothing like that. But apparently with that, the grain augers that pull all of the product up to the top and then drop it into the silos would be internal into the buildings, which would greatly reduce noise. So it talked to that they are thinking about what it would mean to move into the area, and that they're making progression. I'm assuming, and I should not assume, I guess, but they're probably waiting for decisions to be made before they share or move any further in making any incremental news or documents or anything like that. They're not going to spend any more money till they find out where they are with regards to this property.
Okay, thanks, Willie. Any other comments from council? Okay, and we had Gord. You moved it. Did we get a seconder on that? Okay, Willie will second it. All those in favor? And friendly amendment from our clerk to add that we'll refer to our central planner?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Again, all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Can someone go find Pam? Thanks, Todd. All right. We have some more committee meeting minutes here. We'll just wait for a couple members of council to come back. Okay, so would someone like to move these minutes or make some changes? Moved by Gord.
I'll move A through F, Mr. Mayor.
Just before we do.
Yep.
There's an important part to make sure we recognize that it's there. On report number 3, which is item F, 9F, just want to make sure it's completely clear. That's all of our discussions, all of our work related to the budget, the actual announcement that was made at the last council meeting. So I just want to make sure it's very clear that by approving these minutes and these reports, this is the ultimate approval of the 2019 budget and the forecast into 2020.
Okay.
As long as everybody knows that it's there.
Okay. Are there any polls of this then? Does anyone want to pull any items off this A through F? Are we okay with it being together? All right, so Gord moved this. Can we get a seconder? Bruce? Okay, all those in favor of A through F? Okay, which includes the budget. That's carried. I just want to make sure all hands are up. This is a pretty important one. Okay, thank you. That's unanimous support of our budget. All right. Next, do you want to move in my amendment?
Do reports first.
Oh, yeah, because we have that resolution is next, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move my report first. Yeah. All right. Do you have the number on that one? Okay, thanks. So we're going to move to DB 0119. That's from me, and that's in regards to the alternate decision maker. Yeah. Okay. Any questions on this? Okay. Do you want to then, do you want to receive this? Oh,
Well, throw it out there. I mean, just waiting to see, give somebody else an opportunity to speak first for a change. Just saying. So the report's interesting. Just a couple things to say. Like your comments are saying, Dave, that these are the only considerations. They're quite different, candidly, than the original discussion. The original discussion was availability and proximity to the fire station. So I think there is quite a bit of difference from what we first talked about. Proximity, perhaps we've just decided that that's kind of irrelevant in a small urban area, but I win by distance. And I'm not even proposing that I've got this position, but I'm just saying proximity to me is irrelevant in the discussion.
Okay.
If there's an emergency, and in the event that you're not there, then it's not this person or even your position, if you are here, to get there and take control. That's not what this is about. In fact, it's very much a firefighter's, a fire chief would have control of it, and then I would suspect that we're taking direction. The chief would be saying, I need you to do this and to, all right, somebody can help me, haven't had to do it. Or, okay, so Ingrid would be saying where we need you to go, and perhaps it's come back down here, and all those kind of things that happen. So my feeling is that proximity has nothing to do with it.
okay, but I don't think that's not a major part of this report, right?
Well, not now. It was the first time we went through this. Your two issues were proximity and availability. That was it.
Okay, but again, so just on this report, every part of this is obviously true, right? We have a lot of different people on this council that can do many different jobs. Everything that I wrote in here about Councillor Pop is accurate. He's a guy who has stepped up when we have flooding, when he's stepped up. He's managed his public works portfolio very well, just like you have the budget. And he's got a keen interest in this aspect of our business, like you have a keen interest in budgeting. We spread out the roles and responsibilities throughout our council, and Councillor Pop has my full confidence that if I'm unable to perform these duties, that he can step up in the case of an emergency. And it also from his work experience, these are also parts of what he's done for a living as well.
Okay. And I'm not arguing this same discussion we had last time. I don't have any question about everything you just said about Councillor Pop. I'm sure he can do it. I have lots of confidence, enjoy working with the guy. There's no issue with that at all. The discussion was, are there others? The last time we went through this, and I don't think we should hide from the previous discussion, we talked about whether Gord should be it. So and I get it, the motion's here, it's put out, it's got Willie's name on it. That was the discussion that took place. So, I reached out to you, Dave, and said, at that meeting or the last meeting, you said, if anybody's got any questions, to reach out to you. I sent you a specific email to say, listen, if you want my support on this or on anything else, you should be reaching out to me, and I'd be happy to talk about it. I didn't hear from you.
Okay.
Not once. So, if there's things like this, I mean, this is a great report. I would love to have had that discussion somewhere between the last time we kicked this around and when this came out. And concerned that didn't take place.
Okay. Now, we've spoken in person 20 times since then. At any time during those 20, obviously that's an estimate. We've spoken a lot. At any point you could have tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, can I have 3 minutes of your time or 3 hours of your time?
And likewise, Dave. What I said to you in the email was, if there's something that you're passionate about and you want to push through, you should be reaching out to that person, just like we would around any other issue. So it's upon you to reach out and do those things if you feel passionate as you do about this. It's not for me to question and come back to you and say, what's going on, because I didn't know what was going on. There was nothing transparent to say it was going to be Willie or that it wasn't going to be Gord.
So we've talked about this for 3 weeks. This report is public. This agenda was out Thursday. We all knew that this was going to be happening.
When did this come out? When did this addendum come out?
This came out, was that today? Sorry, I emailed it Friday.
It was like 4 o'clock today or so?
Oh, no, it was before that. Today?
It came out today.
Yeah.
Okay, it came out today.
Yeah.
All right.
But again, we've spoken many, many times since then. Like, many times in the last 2 weeks or whatever it's been. Okay. So I understand you're against this, and I understand that. That's fine. Is there any other comments on this? Gary?
What I object to is your statement that Willie is the most qualified counselor. Councillor Hyatt was on the Emergency Services Vice Chair for 12 years, and I think he's extremely qualified also. And I personally feel that the regional councillor should be the mayor. And the way things are going now, there's no mention made here of of a deputy mayor. It's just an alternate decision maker, which leaves me a little bit confused.
Okay, so this report and the resolution that follows is about an alternate decision maker on...
Has nothing to do with deputy mayor then?
This is a completely separate issue. This is something to fill it in for me if I'm unable to act.
Right.
That's it. Now, just like Bruce's comment a couple minutes ago, you were in my office today, and I said, do you have any issues with anything on the agenda, including this? And that wasn't discussed, but no problem. So, go ahead, Pam.
I think we've talked this 5 ways of Sunday. Can we just get on and vote?
Sure. So,
Well,
do you want to
let's,
make a motion?
Okay. So then tell me, Councillor Beach, why is it that you support this, if in fact you do?
Because, and it's not about his proximity, but because he has dealt with a number of crisis situations, he's handled, in my view, that I've watched him handle a number of things very, very well, and he demonstrates capability. Of you gentlemen wouldn't be. It's not a position that I want. And he is involved with Public Works, and I think that's a key thing because he's touching on a lot of different things like that. And I guess that just summarizes it in a nutshell as far as that. And I mean, there's nothing against Gord. I just feel that he's the regional councillor. He has his hands full with what he's doing. I think different ones of us can take responsibility in different ways.
Todd?
Yeah, as I like to do, I usually listen to everybody else first before I speak, but at the same time, I have been, since the last meeting, I believe I was the one that tabled this, specifically because I wanted to rethink and look over everything. I think it's important, Pam has touched on one aspect that I was thinking of over this time frame, and that was there are multiple roles that we all play, obviously. Bruce has done a phenomenal job with financing. I would not have wanted to take that on. I do not have a foretaste for saving money like he does. So we needed that. For myself, I do think that there are a number of us at this table that would be quite capable to take this on. Obviously, I have a huge background in emergency management, but I made it very clear from the beginning that I also am not able to say I am available at any given moment. Gord, I think, is quite capable also, but he is also in a brand new role. And for me, when I look at it from a perspective of who is most likely the most available to be able to function on a last-minute notice, it is Willie, based on what we're already doing as individuals in this role, in our roles. So that would be my first concern, is not that Gord wouldn't necessarily be available, but that's just adding another thing onto someone's portfolio when He is already in that brand new role, at a newer level, at a higher level. For me, I think it's better to, and again, I watched Willie firsthand during a lot of our Green Boys issues, during that night. And as someone with a lot of experience and background in mediation and conflict resolution, he did a phenomenal job at that. And that is part and parcel to what this would entail. Bruce, I do think there is more involvement than you think, possibly, when it comes to emergency management. It is obviously first and foremost those that are, in our case, firefighters, taking a lead role, but your political aspect also is quite involved on anything from a level that we're talking about here, should it ever happen. So personally, it's nothing. I don't have anything against Gord. I don't have anything against you. I certainly don't have anything against myself. But but I do feel that Willie would be the best case scenario going forward for this term.
Is there an issue? I'll just read the line. Councillor Pop has shown an interest in emergency services and is willing to take on the role. Key part. He's also not committed to another source of employment and thus is available. So I'm not asking Willie to say, what are you making, what are you doing, but I'm saying, is it a requirement then that whoever takes on this role, and maybe it applies to some other roles, that they be basically in town and available 24 hours a day? Is this what we're looking at? Like, so it says he's also not committed to another source of employment and thus is available.
Okay, so, oh, go ahead.
Just to speak to that briefly, I mean, many corporations have rules of how leadership acts with regards to travel. Big companies don't have, their upper management travel on same planes. Certain people can't be out of country at different times. I think, there is means to manage those types of scenarios, and I don't mind bringing my current situation with employment into the public. I'm not currently working at another role at this stage of the game. I do have my hand in on several things that I have done in the past, and from a consulting perspective would occupy, not a significant amount of my time should I choose to go down that road. So I do think that I have bandwidth and capacity to, take on this role if required.
And then Willie and I have discussed travel, and we've agreed that we will both never be out of the country at the same time, just to make sure that one of us is always available. But again, we beat this around. I'd love for someone to make a motion to just call for a vote.
Can I make one more point?
Sure.
Just as a diversion,
Yeah.
no pressure, but we have our emergency management exercise next Wednesday. So don't put it off and delay this vote. I would suggest that you, if you can, vote tonight, because it would be nice to have somebody in that training role next week when we spend the whole day immersed in that exercise.
My final comment is not, I don't mind at all with Willie being the role, it's the way we ended up here. That's my issue.
Can I make a comment? How does this position dovetail with the deputy mayor?
It doesn't. These are two totally different things. So at the moment, the deputy mayor in the room is you. That doesn't change. Okay. Pam? Oh, Gord, go ahead.
I guess what I'm struggling with is the process, and this is nothing, I'm not campaigning for this position, so don't get me off on the wrong start, and I think Willie would probably be a good choice. I just think back to when I first got on council, the regional councillor, for whatever reasons, or the previous council had decided that he would be appointed, regardless if we wanted to be it or not. You were it. The last two terms of council, with different mayor, was in this sort of a mode where they arbitrarily decided they would pick somebody based on their whim, basically. So at the end of the last council, and I'm sure most of the people in this room were there that day, we had some prominent citizens do delegations to that council saying basically, you guys should be planning for the future. In other words, there should be a protocol in place so that whomever gets elected to those positions will be taking on those responsibilities. So at the beginning of this term, and not to fault the mayor, but you decided to go with this revolving deputy mayor position, which has its merits, but it also does not prescribe any real responsibility to anybody particularly. And I get most of us are new, and we're learning, but I think you avoid that whole kind of perceived favoritism or politicism by having protocols in place so that when the next council comes on board, basically they follow our guidebook and they know exactly who's ever running for whatever position, these are the responsibilities that they will face. So having said that, again, I'm not running for this position, but I think this council at some point needs to put those protocols in place for the next one. So they won't be faced with this kind of second guessing, well, who would make the best councillor for this position. And again, this is nothing personally against Willie. He could make a great backup person. It's just putting council and the public through that kind of what-if phase. I think if people knew going in where they would be, I think we would be much better off. And I'm not blaming previous councils or anything else, but they had an opportunity to act, and for whatever reasons we decided to push it off to this council to make those decisions, and now we're faced with it. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay. So just to be clear.
You know,
okay.
And again, any of us in this room would probably handle this position quite well. Okay. Mayor Barton has his rationale for whomever he's chosen, and again, that's changed in the last few weeks. But notwithstanding that, it's there in front of us, and I guess it's up to council to make that decision. So I'll leave it up to council.
Okay, go ahead, Pam.
So can we call for a vote, please?
Sure. So what's your motion then? There's a recommendation here.
Okay, so the recommendation is to have Councillor Pop, oops, sorry, where is it there? Sorry. What? Got to receive
okay.
Maybe this would be an ideal opportunity for a recorded vote too.
Sure.
Might as well.
Yeah,
I think
no
we
problem.
should.
Okay.
You're okay with that, Pam?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, so we'll have maybe a motion to receive this for information, and then we'll do the resolution.
So to receive DB-0119 to be received for information, and...
That's it, that's enough. Yeah. Okay, so you want a recorded vote on this received for information? Okay.
Yes, please.
Sure.
And then just... No, not on the receipt for information.
Okay.
On the resolution. So I guess I didn't say it if it's not on the mic. So, no, I'm not asking for a recorded vote on a receipt for information.
Okay.
I'm saying it for the vote.
Okay.
And then, Deb, one of the things we talked about, the sequence of that is by word. Right, well, that's the process.
Okay, so a seconder on receipt for information on this. Todd, all those in favor? Okay, that's carried. Okay, now on the resolution. Do you have it, Pam? Okay. Can I get a motion to lift this? Pam, seconded by Todd. All those in favor? That's carried. Okay. Thanks, Pam.
Okay, resolution 2.
Oh, I should read it? Okay, pass it to me. Thank you. All right, so this is resolution number 2019-04, February 25th, 2019, moved by Pam Beach, seconded by Todd Snooks. Appoint an alternate for the mayor in case of absence or an inability to act in an emergency, whereas the Township of Uxbridge Emergency Plan was adopted by bylaw number 2012-162 during the regular meeting of Council October the 22nd, 2012, and whereas each year the Township of Uxbridge Emergency Plan is reviewed and updated in accordance with program compliance requirements of the Office of the Fire Marshal and Emergency Management, Ministry of Community Safety and Correctional Services, and whereas the Township of Uxbridge Emergency Plan, Section 8, outlines the roles and responsibilities of the Municipal Control Group, and whereas the Mayor, as executive authority with advice from the Municipal Council Group, will exercise their duties in the event of an emergency, and whereas there's a need to consider an alternate to the Mayor in case of absence or and the ability to act under the emergency plan. Therefore, be it resolved that Councillor Willie Pop be appointed as the alternate for the Mayor in case of absence or inability to act in an emergency. Okay, would you like a recorded vote on this? Okay.
Councillor Beach,
Yes.
Councillor Rona,
Mike.
I just didn't like the process, but
So,
I'll vote
Garrett.
yes.
Councillor Garrett,
Yes.
Councillor Pop,
Yes.
Councillor Snooks,
Yes?
Councillor Hyatt,
No.
Mayor Barton.
Yes.
Resolution's passed.
Gary, your mic's on still. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. All right, what's next, Madam Clerk? Okay. And just a second, where is it on here? Give me one moment. Oh, okay, so this is, report number PB 0319. This is in regards to lowering the speed limit on concession 4 from Durham 8 to 47. Any comments from council? Yes, Gord?
I think we need to look at speeding on all the concession roads before we start nitpicking over which little stretches we're gonna do. Like have staff look at them all. To take this particular road and do that, and you're gonna have requests coming out the wazoo, so I think you better be prepared for that. So I would rather have them look at it, because the geography is different, as we all know, on some of these roads. And then prioritize which ones we want to tackle first, rather than arbitrarily just do one and then another one. Have an overall kind of conceptual thing of where we're going. So I would suggest point 3 here, that council have a serious discussion about speeding on the roads and have a plan to deal with it. Would you be okay with that amendment, Councillor B?
I would be, because it needs to be discussed, and I mean, since I'm representing Ward 1,
Yeah.
that's why I brought it forth in
Not
this.
that I'm discounting the request, I just think
No,
we
no,
need to
no,
look
no,
at
and
the
I
whole
do,
thing.
I do agree with you, Gord, that we need to look at it as a whole, and, I mean, that's, and it's the time of year that we need to do it. This can't just sit around on the shelf
Yeah,
for another
absolutely.
6 months. We're coming into where people are gonna get back to speeding, because the roads are gonna be ice-free, hopefully at some point, and water-free. Asking, been asked constantly from residents on that road, when is this going to come to council, when something's going to be done? At least I could take back, if this is going to be looked at, and I'm really not looking at wanting a study, and I don't think you are, because that could be a lot of money.
I get the same call, so I know exactly what you're doing, so.
So this
But I
is
think
it.
we need to do it comprehensively rather than nitpick one over the other.
Yeah, no, and I agree, it all needs to be looked at, because there's many other concession roads in Ward 1 that, I've had so many complaints with, any time of the year, so we need to have this looked at seriously.
Okay, any other comments from council? Todd?
Yeah, I would just add that I fully agree with Gord, to start picking one here and one there, although that's getting something done, it's better to go through a process that we can determine through staff. And ideally, I would say any roads that are currently not marked as the one we've already agreed on one section, we really should have maybe held back on that one also, but going forward, I think we need to make a clear indication that if we have, all our concession roads should be a certain speed. You really shouldn't be changing them all over the place, so that some are 80, some are 60, some people are gonna get confused because the 80s aren't marked, because it's considered automatic. So if we made our concession roads within our township a certain speed, and then we have to look at our roads that are even within that section, inside township, something like Center Road or something, you know, that should be dropped as well from the 50 to the 40. You know, there are a lot more roads that need to be dealt with from a speeding standpoint. It is a psychological aspect of driving, but it is proven to be true. If the speed limit is 50, the average person will do 60. If the speed limit is 40, the average person will do 50. There are always going to be exceptions to the rule. Those are the ones that we want to be ticketing and dealing with from an enforcement standpoint. But that concept of 10 over is really ingrained in our culture. And so we have to look at that and have staff look at that very closely for all of our streets within the township.
Go ahead, Willie.
I agree with Councillor Snooks and Councillor Hyatt. As we look, just because it's going to come up again, because I'll be writing a report shortly on this, and there is real implications and discussions around residents, around pieces, I think we do have to have a hard look at it and what we need to do there. And I have been around with our Director of Public Works looking at some spots in town because it is a real concern. And when we went around and did it, and we're looking at this one street in particular, he'd like to get some documentation in his hands before he started making some recommendations on it. And to the point, once you start going down, no pun intended, going down the road about making these changes, there is a tendency for more to ask for similar, you know, reductions. I think that we need to look at that, but I also think we need to look where, and you know, every concern is real in the perception of the people that are talking about it. But I do think that in this case, and I don't want to say consultant, but I do think we need to have a hard look at it in areas where it does make sense to maintain or look at the speeds a little sooner rather than later. And again, because I'm bringing one in town next week.
Go ahead, John.
Sorry, I also wanted to mention, I think we need to take it even a step further from the standpoint of just speed control to what else can be implemented to control speed. Because speed limits are one thing, but I mean, I've spoken, I think, with everybody individually and some as a group. What I call speed ramps, not speed bumps. The City of Vaughan, City of Markham, they're being highly used and very effective with controlling speed, as well as being able to, again, I've said I don't like four-way stops. When you create an intersection, you create a place for an accident to occur, and four-way stops are one of them. They can be confusing to a lot of people, but having said that, the speed ramps and the use thereof are helpful for pedestrian traffic because they're raised pedestrian crossings. You use them as that, as well as placement correctly placed. They allow for the traffic to have to slow in the places you want pedestrians crossing properly. And therefore you can eliminate some four-way stops and save a lot of environmental aspects as well as safety.
Yes, Pam.
So, okay, Todd, so you're talking more in town, hamlet, that type of thing, rather than out in the rural areas?
From the other speed aspects,
yes.
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 You're not going to put speed ramps out on a concession road.
No, because I don't know how that would work.
But you can drop the speed.
Yeah, no, and...
I'm just saying in town.
No, in town and...
In town and hamlets,
yes.
yes.
And I totally agree with that.
Okay. Ingrid wants to say something.
Just a suggestion. Would it be helpful for council if we could get Lucas to take sort of a map of our roads and define what are 60s, what are 80s? Would that be beneficial? I'm thinking more in the rural areas, because you have to remember that there have been some changes that have been made in the last couple of years where councils turned down requests for 60s and then also allowed 60s to go into areas as well. And not on the advice of our consultant. And I think that, to your point, but you may as well know what it is you're getting into, because the hard part is that if I ask for my road to be 60, and you say that you don't want it to be 60, I could easily come back and ask you then why that road is 60, and you need to have the rationale on why that actually happened. Because there's a lot, you're talking about years and years and years and years of history on how these speeds, so we'll get Lucas to put something together.
Can I just make a suggestion? I'd like, because we are public facing, and often staff are not in the same way, why don't we get Todd, Pam, and Lucas to have a few meetings where they discuss kind of options and how we move forward? Just so we can take a macro look at this thing. And maybe we could start with the rural, start with more of the concession roads in the rural, just so it's not as enormous, and then move in. And just can we throw in rural plus Cemetery Road? Just because that's, with all the construction that's going on, I want that discussion sooner than... Yes, Gord?
Just to add to that, and to Todd's point, if staff, and they have a list of roads that we know they do every year, could we, or do we need to direct them to provide, it could be something as simple as painting a white line for a perceived pedestrian bicycle lane, and it for perception is to slow people down. When they see those two white lines, they slow down. Road, hey, add that white line, and it can make a huge difference, right? So.
And to add to that, I mean, that's one of the things we talked about in regards to, you know, the truck traffic, and we were considering losing parking to not narrow the road with the extended walking path, right?
Right.
So.
And certainly, as our vehicles become more autonomous, you know, even my Jeep will self-correct when I go over a line. Next time you make fun of me, can you have the mic on? Just so it's recorded. Yeah. So Pam, can you reword your recommendation around some of the things we just talked about, or do you want us to do it for you? Catalina has something if you want.
All right. And that council have a receive the report for information, and that council have a serious discussion about speeding and what else can be implemented to control speed on the township as a whole, beginning in the rural areas and Cemetery Road in a comprehensive manner for consistency, and that staff be directed to define what are 60-kilometer and what are 80-kilometer roads in the rural areas.
Perfect. Just in addition, the staff. Yeah, that's what I'm. So. And that Lucas, Pam, and Todd work together to come up with some strategies.
Are you okay with eliminating your second motion from your report, Pam? The one that talks about fourth concession?
At this time, yes.
Okay. Are we all okay with that?
Yeah, I think we also have to look at the sign placement. In a few areas, the signs are just in very bad spots. I know on our road, you come over and it's an 80, and all of a sudden you come over this hill, and right there is a 50. So we have to look at the sign placement too, not just speed. Yeah.
So if you want to make recommendations, Gary, writing to Pam and Todd.
Yeah.
Well, again, if we can add one more to that group if you want. It just, the more people gets it more complex. Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, throw more. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. So we now have a motion moved by Pam, I'm guessing, and seconded by Todd. All those in favor? That's carried. All right. Next. Is that it before bylaws, or? Okay. And who is the bylaws? Go ahead, Todd. Now, just a second. Any questions on the bylaws? So, yeah, go ahead.
Just on 37, I know staff isn't here, maybe they talk about the specifics, but are there limitations for using Capstick Lane? We talked about it when it came forward a couple of weeks back, but we didn't really get a definitive answer on. There was issues over clearing snow and access for
Yeah, go ahead.
people walking somewhere.
Through your worship, to Councillor Hyatt, all this is basically is a bylaw that is allowing us to enter into the agreement. I believe Public Works is looking at putting the agreement together, which should encompass all of those things. There
I
was
just wondered if you were approving
safety
something without
concept,
actually
there
having-
was use of the road,
Okay.
there were parking, there was a bunch of things that
So that's-
need to be included.
that needs to be included? Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gord, great question. Deb, with this, will the final agreement pass through council, or will it happen without us?
Typically, we don't, but if that's council's direction, if you want to do a resolution separate, directing that the draft come back for review, then that's what we can do.
Bruce, I'm trying to remember lines. This is you, right? This is you, right? Yeah, this is your ward. Capstick. But yeah, this is your ward. So, I'd like to see this report come through just so we see it in its entirety and the public see it as well. So can we have this? Okay. Okay.
Because we had that meeting today with the region over asking for a crosswalk. You don't want that going right into a truck lane, right?
Exactly.
So it either has to go to the side of it or
Franklin, right?
Or Franklin.
Yeah. Okay, so any other questions on the bylaws? Mike Kennedy, Anina's, Phil Smith. Okay, I'm good with all the bylaws. I don't have any other questions. Okay. Oh, go ahead, Todd.
Bylaws requiring third readings, March 25th, 2019. First reading and second reading, moved by myself, Todd Snook, seconded by Pam Beach, that leave be granted to introduce bylaw numbers 2019-032 through to and including 2019-045, and the same be read a first and second time.
All those in favor? That's carried.
Carried. Third reading, moved by myself, Todd Snooks, seconded by Pam Beach, that bylaw number 2019-032 through to and including 2019-045 be now read a third time, finally passed, and the mayor and clerk duly sign and seal same.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried.
Carried.
All right. Let's go under other business, we've got the AMO Communications, the 2019 budget. Oh, sorry. Unfinished business, we've got We Uxbridge, and it's their update on We Walk for Water fundraising event. This is on page 61 of the agenda. What would we like to do with this? And this is thanking us for having them come in. Fundraising. Okay, any questions
I think we
on this?
approved it in principle, didn't we?
Yeah, I thought we
We're just
did.
waiting for the details.
Yeah.
So I'll approve it based on what their requests are.
Okay, moved by Gord, seconded by Willie, all in favor? That's carried. All right, and then, okay, oh yeah, so can someone, Bruce, can you give us a motion for the Hellespice agreement, that agreement be passed through council?
Just as simple as that. Make a
Sure.
motion for the,
Does that work? Okay,
What do you
moved
said?
by Bruce, seconded by Todd, all in favor? That's carried. All right, and I think we're ready to go into camera, am I right? Oh, other business, we've got the AMO Communications on their 2019 budget.
Motion to receive, Mr. Chair.
Okay, all, seconded by Willie, all in favor? This is on the AMO budget, 2019.
Draw some attention to it for sake of the press.
Oh, no, this is the AMO part.
Right, about the
Okay.
budget issues.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
I just wanted to just raise it a little bit, just to bring some attention. So the AMO Communications talked about the funding coming from the province and then from the feds as well. So there was some good news that came this week on both fronts. The gas tax got doubled in in effect. So they gave us, I just got the number here, $656,863 came from the feds this week, as a doubling of the gas tax. That's, it's not free-for-all money, but, you know, there's limits around what we can do with it, but, certainly a piece of good news. Oh, I thought you were gonna jump in there. Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. Starts with P and ends in L.
And on the other piece, why don't we make an announcement when we've got our MPP with us?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now, or
the other thing I wanted to remind everyone is, so next Monday night was the event in Port Perry for the tree clearing, and next Tuesday night in Uxbridge is the Economic Development Forum, which the region is putting on to develop their new action plan for the next at least 4 years. So make a note if you can come out, that'd be great. 6 o'clock until 8 here.
oh, for chairing this meeting next week, do we need to make a motion? Deb? Okay. All right, so I'm gonna be away for the next meeting, and we need a chair. Gary would like to pass that to someone, so it could either be passed to Gord, or, Gord, do you want a chair next week? Okay. This is just for committee, Gord.
Or whoever wants to chair it, I'm good with it.
Okay. Okay. So, can I get a motion for Gord to be the chair of our next meeting? Moved by Todd, second by Pam. All in favor? It's carried. Oh, and questions from the press?
It's going to take a while. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Garrett, on the federal budget and the doubling of the gas tax. You said $656,000. Is that the total amount we save now, or is that extra?
No, so we had the original amount for gas tax in 2019 that was put into our budget was $642,400. Yep. And then the announcement that we had this week was that they gave us the 2018 equivalent, but on top of that, which was the $656,863.
Forgive me, Councillor. It brings it up to 600 and...
No, it's double. So no,
So
it's 642 plus 656.
Oh, plus 656.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how does that affect the budget this year? I mean, will that now bring down the tax increase?
No, so what we're able to make sure the mic's on. So what we're able to do now, the quick answer is no, it won't bring down that was passed tonight. And that allows us now to look at specific projects that fall within the bailiwick of what's allowed through the gas tax, but projects that we were not going to be able to do, we can now look toward doing.
There's some criteria of that money, so it's not for anything, it's for some specific items, mostly revolving around transportation.
Okay, that's that one. On the regional review, Mr. Mayor, I do believe that, if I have it correctly, you met
Yes.
with the provincial reps, along with, was it Ms. Selness?
No,
Oh,
it
just
was
you.
it was just myself.
Okay. My question is, before you met with the regional representatives, did you have discussions with your councillors as to what you were going to say to them?
So I met with the regional council. I met with staff. We had some discussions internally with council, but it wasn't. We didn't have one meeting. We didn't have an in-camera meeting where we discussed it. We had multiple discussions with multiple people, mostly with the CAO. It came up fairly quickly.
And Councillor Garrett suggested that there should be a report put out stating just what the township's position is on this regional review. Is that going to happen?
We just made a motion today that should happen. Yes.
And will that be made public on the website?
It will, so the report will be on a public agenda. It'll be on an agenda. Yeah, it'll pass through council.
And if I may, getting to the business of the emergency mayor, alternate, or what, I'm not too sure what the title is anymore. I have a few questions on that. First of all, on the recorded vote, if I have it correctly, only Mr. Hyatt was opposed, am I right?
That's correct.
And Mr. Mayor, as the Mayor of Uxbridge, if an emergency were to happen tomorrow, you are in charge, what you say goes, am I correct?
It's through...
Bringing it right down to
no,
its basics.
So, no, that's not correct. The fire chief, I believe, is in charge in the case of an emergency.
Fire chief's in charge?
Oh, just a second.
We have two CEMCs, and I'd have to look up what they are, but we have the fire chief generally takes a leading role. What would happen if there's an emergency, we'd actually set up an EOC, which is off-site, and there's a number of people that are involved in that. And the mayor's responsibility is actually to declare the emergency, and the mayor is also the person that will deal with a lot of the public concerns, will become the voice of the public, or to the public, so the mayor will take on that role. They'll be there to help provide guidance, but they're going to be the ones that are going to be probably doing a lot of dialogue with the province, with the federal government if needed, with the region, with the public, doing all of the media stuff as well. That's the voice. When the voice is coming out of the township in an emergency, it's going to be coming through the mayor.
Thank you for clarifying that. So my question now is then, should the mayor be absent, and we have a deputy mayor in place as per your schedule, and an emergency is declared, am I to assume now that the then deputy mayor will not be declaring the emergency, will not be talking with other governments, and will not be talking with the media, which is part of his job as deputy mayor, but it'll go to the alternate, am I right?
It'll go to the acting mayor in the case of an emergency, that is correct.
So now we have a deputy mayor and an acting mayor. You can understand there's going to be a question of who's in charge, who's minding the store.
So because of the bylaw that was just passed, there won't be a question. The reason why this has to be the case is this has to be passed with a bylaw. So the deputy is rotating through council for the first year, which was the wish of me and this council. That was passed unanimously. That would pass through council like Pickering and a number of other municipalities. The acting mayor in case of an emergency is obviously Councillor Pop. That just happened. But that is only if we are declaring a state of emergency.
So the deputy mayor will declare the emergency?
No.
No, the acting...
No,
maybe I can try and clarify it. Tonight, council has basically appointed somebody to act in the place of the mayor in an emergency, which is different than who the deputy mayor is. This is a person who has been delegated the responsibility in the case of an emergency to act on behalf of the mayor.
If I can.
Independent of the deputy mayor, unless at some point in time that person becomes the deputy mayor. Then it would be different.
And the deputy mayor is any other day that's not a declared emergency is acting as the mayor at events, chairing meetings, and carrying out the regular duties of the mayor if I can't attend something. Except for the emergency. who's on first? Okay. Is that clear enough for you, Roger? Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead, Moya.
Sorry, just quickly, I thought I heard like a last-minute friendly amendment, I think, on the Grain Boys application, but I didn't catch what it was.
Oh,
Is that right?
yeah, it was that we also passed that letter from Grain Boys
Mhm.
out, ensure it's on our website, and then also that some of us spread the word through our social media channels.
Okay.
Evelyn, anything from you? Okay. Anything from the audience? Nope. All right. So we have an in-camera portion of this meeting, so don't let the door hit you on the way out. Sure. Well, it depends. Do you want it to be recorded, or do you want me to just know? Okay. Is this? Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Use the mic, though.
Eileen Foote. My only comment to what the reporter had commented on, right now we have the biggest, if I'm right, the biggest single construction project ever to have happened in Uxbridge is going to be happening.
Yep.
And nothing could go wrong. Absolutely nothing, I'm sure. And nor do I hope nothing goes wrong. But in the next 8 months, is that not just a little bit concerning if there is some confusion? I just raised that point.
So typically, a state of emergency wouldn't be a problem with construction. It would be a major weather event, or an airplane crash, or like it.
But that could happen within the next, when this is going on.
But again, from the view from the municipality, there's no confusion. We'll deal with it when it comes. And again, we've never. It would be very odd that we'd have an emergency when I'm not available, because I'm almost always available.
I'm old enough to remember Hurricane Hazel.
Yeah.
I just throw that out there. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Can I get a motion to go into camera? Moved by Pam, seconded by Todd. All in favor? Carried. We're now in camera. Can I get a motion to rise from in camera? Pam, Todd, all in favor? Carried. And then, Deb, do you want a motion? Okay. So no motion to that effect? All right, good. So, can I get confirming bylaw? No, someone give it back. Confirming bylaw right here. Todd, do you want to read this?
Confirmed bylaw, March 25th, 2019, first reading and second reading by myself, Todd Smith, seconded by...
Hey, your mic.
I never knew that. Confirming bylaw, March 25th, 2019, first reading and second reading, moved by myself, Todd Snook, seconded by Pam Beach, that leave be granted to introduce bylaw number 2019-046, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of its regular meeting of Council of March 25th, 2019, and the same be read a first and second time.
All those in favor? Carried.
Carried. Third reading, moved by myself, Todd Snook, seconded by Pam Beach, that bylaw number 2019-046 be now read a third time, finally passed, and the mayor and clerk duly sign and seal same.
All those in favor? Carried.
Carried.
All in favor? We are adjourned.
Hey, Gary, do you have 1 minute to talk to Dave for a second in regards to your watershed committee? That's not foul. Still.